Greetings, dear cultured and knowledgeable audience. Welcome to this space of reality, where today we are going to analyze the latest little gem from our kneeling diplomacy. There's no doubt that this republic looks more and more like a parody of Saturday Night Live every day, but without a budget. Welcome to another session of Reality Without Anesthesia. Today we bring you this geographic tragicomedy. President Scheinbaum has come out to defend the name of the Gulf of Mexico. Get your popcorn ready, because watching the lady try to act tough with the boss from the north is the best entertainment our tax money can buy. Let's get to it. Let's remember that one of the first attacks that the tycoon with the unmovable hair, none other than Donald Trump, decided on was that the world map was in his way. And just like someone changing the name of one of his hotels in Atlantic City, he decided to rename it. The Gulf of Mexico, according to him, is now called the Gulf of Africa. The best part isn't the name. The best part is what happened this weekend, according to Trump himself, who, let's admit it, has the subtlety of a bull in a china shop. Claudia called him surprised. It seems science didn't warn her that the northern neighbor has the habit of peeing in someone else's yard to mark territory. Imagine the scene at the National Palace with the red phone, which surely now has a direct line to Mar-a-Lago to constantly receive instructions. The Presichachis, with that concrete block charisma she's so known for, asks him, "Do you like people from the Gulf more?" And Trump, in his usual style, explains to her that the name Mexico was no longer trending, that America sounds stronger, bigger, more his own. Trump narrates the call with that condescending tone he uses when talking about his domestic workers. He says she was surprised. I'm translating from Trump to Spanish. She was stunned watching how the national sovereignty she boasts about so much in her speeches was fading away. Faster than any campaign promise from. Without a doubt, it's worth watching the moment when once again Mr. Orange enjoys stepping on and humiliating the lady who runs the National Palace. You know, that great way President Trump has of first flattering her, saying she's an elegant woman with a very beautiful voice, but then hitting her with a huge blow is like putting ointment on so the blow slides off. I mean, let's watch this gem of geopolitics.
Well, we had that with the Gulf of Mexico. Remember the Gulf of Mexico? And one day I said, why is it the Gulf of Mexico? We have 92% of the area around it. They have 8%, really less than 8%. But for 350 years, it was good. You know, they were there 100 years longer than us, Mexico. They're at 350. We're at 250. Then I said, I've often asked myself, why do we call it the Gulf of Mexico? It seems like we dominate. Well, when I checked, it was more than 92%. So I announced, I wouldn't say Mexico was thrilled, but I announced it. From now on, the Gulf of Mexico is going to be called the Gulf of America. And it took about 1 hour and it was done. Everybody, I mean, the president called me. She's really a nice person too. I like her a lot. She called up. She had the most beautiful voice. She's a very elegant woman, has a beautiful, beautiful voice. She goes, President, 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 tell me this is not so. No, it's so. Oh, it's so. And then Google Maps changed it. We won the court case in about 1 hour, and Google Maps changed the name. And it's now the Gulf of America, which it should be. In all fairness, we're crushing Iran's weapons stockpiles.
What did she do on that occasion? The Iron Lady of the Fourth Transformation sent a diplomatic note. That sovereignty that faded quickly, that's the real kind she boasts about in geopolitics. Brilliant. Her words. It's like if your neighbor painted your house front in fluorescent orange, and you go out and say, hey, what a surprise. Why did you do it? Well, because he can, Claudia, because he can, and because you don't do anything about it. That's why, after Donald Trump exposed it to the whole world, our beloved leader was left with her mouth open and eyes wide. When he told her that the Gulf of Mexico is now called the Gulf of America, at the National Palace they activated damage control. Bam. And of course, what's the best defense of this government? A good dose of empty rhetoric and a little bit of that national pride they only show when the boss isn't looking them straight in the eyes. Our brand new leader has come out to say, with that tone of voice that makes you miss even the sound of traffic, that the Gulf is called of Mexico, ours, and that's how it will stay. Wow, how forceful. Surely in Mar-a-Lago, Trump is trembling, erasing his new maps and asking for forgiveness for his audacity. Or rather, is he laughing while scarfing down a well-done hamburger? Very tough, huh? The lady here criticizing the opposition and the media, but when it comes to Mr. Trump, she's all quiet, right? The most she did was briefly mention what the president said and treat the people at his rally like idiots, making them repeat her nonsense just like an elementary school teacher. Here's the embarrassing moment.
And it's not a conflict, not at all, nor do we want any problems with the United States government. We are partners. We care about our brothers who live there. We defend them. But yesterday, once again, they said that the Gulf was called the Gulf of America. What's the name of the Gulf? Mexico, Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of Mexico. Long live Zacatecas, long live Sombrerete, long live Mexico, Mexico.
Without a doubt, the second floor of the transformation exists, but in the basement of the White House. They sold us the idea that with the arrival of Scheinbaum, we were going to have a government based on data. Let's go to a strategy here is the trust, but let's go to a yoke and let's go to a one of Mexico to Gulf of America. Let's go, a one of what all is defined the, let's go to a one of society. We are the, let's go to a one of, let's go to a one of. Respect, yes, respect that, let's go a one of. And the response to, let's go to a one, let's go to a government, and let's go to a one of the patriots. Let's go to a one, busy looking for how to blame Genaro Garcia Luna or Felipe Calderon for let's go to a one.
Claudia como trapeador.
It's that neoliberalism allowed the Gulf to be vulnerable, the usual lackeys will say. Scheinbaum says there is no confusion, and that the it's is in the international treaties. Ma'am, don't mess around with all due respect and without it. Trump, do international treaties help you? 4. Just like the promises that gas would cost 10 pesos are absolutely useless to us, it is fascinating too. How about that mental gymnastics? First, Trump exposes her as a surprise subordinate, Lloyd, and he goes out to give a geography lesson of elementary school level to calm his kibble-eating pets, who still believe that the 4T is good for something. Is this already diplomacy? When she left, I cursed myself on the call. Surprise and submission at the conference, cardboard sovereignty and heroic defense. Defense this, the second level of denial, what the lady doesn't understand or doesn't want us to understand. That. This isn't a fight over names. In a book. From the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy textbook, it's a marking of territory. Trump didn't call it the Gulf of America because the idea of Mexico, he called it that because it is, and more. In reality, the backyard no longer has its own name, it has an owner. And while she clings to the photograph, the economic and political reality tells us that the name doesn't really matter when the decisions about the same ones, are commercial and security decisions are made in the Oval Office. Naturally, it's easier to defend. Extreme politics, which isn't just saying yes, sir, in private and Viva Mexico in public. If the welfare stigma, that the historic, what a discovery, it's also historic that Mexico reached all the way to California. And I know that story of defending Mexico is over. The problem with fighting over names is that you forget to fight for the things that really matter. While she's wasting her breath defending the bottle, Trump has already drunk it. The content is the classic style of the fourth transformation, winning the narrative battle while losing the war. In the main, it's moral triumph elevated to the level of state policy. Police we have. We have the Lego map against the compass of nothingness. The reality is harsh. Trump isn't coming for the wall at the border. He's coming for the dictionary. If tomorrow he decides that tequila should be called American white juice, the doctor will probably call to say she's surprised by the decision, but that the circular dialogue will continue. It's pathetic to see how the narrative of the fourth transformation falls apart in the face of a social media post or a statement from the blonde guy from Florida. They talk to us about energy sovereignty, about security sovereignty, but they can't even maintain the sovereignty of a name. On a map that implicates us, we share, just by geography, damn useless people. Trump tells the story like someone telling how he scared a kid in the park. And what's worse is that there's nothing to do and nothing can be done, because we know the weakness that hides behind the arrogance of the officials. The science doesn't have formulas to respond to the harsh and constant attacks from the White House tycoon. Well, dear audience, if you have them, welcome to the Gulf of America. Go ahead and buy your new maps, reconfigured by our real head of state, who works from an office with golden curtains. But don't worry, maybe tomorrow they'll surely say that the Gulf belongs to Mexico, because that's what the wise people say. In a show of hands in a public square in Badiraguato, no, practicing their English no. The next name change might be for the whole country, and they might catch us off guard. Remember, sovereignty is not defended with speeches, it's defended with guts. And it seems that in the National Palace they only wear disaster suit skirts, decorated with indigenous people's embroidery, well-ironed for the photos, just to keep the crowd applauding. See you when Trump decides that Popocatépetl is now called Mount Donald. What do you think? I'll read your comments. Remember that you can make your donations through the app. You can find the relevant information in the comment box. Thanks to you, this channel stays active. It's very important to subscribe, like, and press the bell to receive notifications every time there's new content. Thank you.